welcome to another TenTastic video. Today we want to talk about 10 amazing facts about the ancient Roman Empire. You may never heard before. So sit back, enjoy the show and pay attention. Number 1. About 200 amphitheaters. We all know the famous Colosseum in Rome, which is one of the biggest attractions there. But did you know that the Roman Empire had about 200 amphitheaters? Well, the Colosseum was the most famous one. Originally it was called Flavian Amphitheater. And Circus Maximus was the biggest one in its prime, held up to 250,000 bloodthirsty spectators. Number 2. Rome's birthday. According to the legend, Rome was founded on April 21, 753 BC. By the two brothers Remus and Romulus. Both boys were the children of Silvia and Mars. The grandfather ordered the death for the children by throwing them into the Tiber River. A female wolf saved them and took care like a mom. A while later a herdsman discovered the boys and raised them up. After raising up, both boys killed the king Emilius of Alba Longa and searched for the best location for their own city. They argued about the best area and Romulus killed Remus and named the new city after himself. Roma. Number 3. Julius Caesar was not an emperor. Julius Caesar was never an emperor. He was a very powerful general who would eventually rule as a dictator. However, he was perhaps the first Roman to have almost sole control of the empire. After his death he was deified into a god. His name thereafter would become synonymous with the title of emperor. Later many emperors used Caesar in their titles. For us we all heard about Caesar and he is made the most famous leader from the Roman Empire or even in the world history. Number 4. Freedom for slaves. Roman slaves were protected by law, and could actually buy their freedom. Unlike more recent forms of slavery, Roman slaves were paid a small amount of money given board and lodgings. Over time if they could save enough money, they could buy their freedom. Many slaves were granted freedom by their masters for services well done. Freed slaves often went on to become successful businessmen with the help of their masters. Number 5. The German Rhine. The biggest defeat for the Roman Empire was at the German Rhine. This war or battle had a big meaning for both sides. It was impossible to cross the muddy, deep and dark forest for the heavy Roman legions. In just 3 days, Germanic tribes under their leader Arminius defeated the Roman legions, which were considered unbeatable. The Varus battle, named after its loser, forever changed Rome's endeavors to subdue the Germanic peoples to the right of the Rhine. Number 6. Rome's expansion. The year 211 AD, the Roman Empire had its glorious time, when we're looking at the map. This was the time of the maximum expansion under the reign Septimus Severus. As you may notice, the Romans covered much of Europe. From the Atlantic to the Ural Mountains and from the modern Scotland to the Sahara. 55 to 60 million people, which includes women, slaves and other classes of people under Roman rule, which was 15% of the world's population at that time. But it wasn't the biggest empire all time. Rome just got the 28th place in the world history. After all, they did last for centuries despite their small size in comparison to the rest of the world. Number 7. Year of the Four Emperors. The Year of the Four Emperors was a year in the history of the Roman Empire, AD 69, in which 4 emperors ruled in a remarkable turnover. The 4 emperors were Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian. The suicide of Emperor Nero, in 68, was followed by a brief period of civil war, the first Roman civil war since Mark Antony's death in 30 BC. Between June of 68 and December of 69, Rome witnessed the successive rise and fall of Galba, Otho and Vitellius until the final accession of Vespasian, the first ruler of the Flavian dynasty. This was an example of the political disturbances which occurred in the history of the Roman Empire. The military and political anarchy created by this civil war had serious repercussions, such as the outbreak of the Batavian Rebellion. The Jewish revolt was already ongoing. Left-handed was a problem. Being left-handed was in the Roman Empire a serious problem. Today it is more of an inconvenience than a real problem, but not in the ancient Rome. Left-handed people were considered to be unfortunate or even wicked by right-handed ones. Those left-handed were held in suspicion by others because they were believed to be deceitful people. Some sources tell that left-handed Romans were in high regard, but this is false. Actually, the prejudice against them was so strong that the Romans began to wear their wedding ring on their left hand's third finger, to avoid sin from the left-handed ones. Although to be left-handed was bad for military tactics, which we know in Rome was very important. Number 9. One of the longest wars. Wars have been waged throughout human history. But now we're talking about one of the longest conflict in the history. The so-called Roman-Persian War. This war went on for 721 years. Incredible. Can you imagine almost 30 generations in that war? But the Roman remained a solid frontier, for the most part. The Parthian Empire and the Roman Republic began waging war as early as 66 BC and continued later as the Roman and Sasanian-Persian conflict. The Roman-Persian Wars faded out at the onset of the Arab-Muslim conquests around 628 AD. Number 10. Purple was taboo. Purple? Yes, we're talking about a color. Purple was in the history often reserved for royalties. The same for the Roman society. The emperors mostly wear purple-colored togas. But never let anyone else to wear it. Really, it's serious. Even so serious that they made it as a law. So it was forbidden to wear purple togas for the lower classes. The penalties were very severe for breaking Roman law. Can you imagine to get a punishment for wearing clothes in a specific color? Unfortunately, that's it with the video. Which fact did you like best? Feel free to write it in the comments. We are curious what you say. We have to admit, we had a lot of fun making this video. Did you enjoy the video? Then show us with a like. Subscribe to the channel for more TenTastic videos and tell your friends about it. We hope to see you next time. See you.